Hi everybody, my name is Shannon and welcome to my channel, Another Yarn. Thank you so much for joining me today. I greatly appreciate it. You know, I started something last week, kind of a Time Warp Tuesday, going through books, magazines, etc. that, from yesteryear that may or may not have been inspirational to us, and just seeing some of the different patterns and what was important at that time period. This book has always been massively inspirational to me. The patterns and the designs, no, they're not the typical modern type patterns. The book was published in 2002. So of course we're not going to get into the modern everyday, but this was so outside of my wheel, so advanced, so unique and special. I had to have the book. And I remember it was a yarn store here in Colorado that has long since gone, Strawberry Tree, something along that line. It was a wonderful yarn store, very different, very unique. They had this book and I went and visited it multiple times. I don't know how you are when you see something that you really want and maybe it's just a bit out of your price range. Yeah, it was out of my price range. I don't remember how much I paid for it back then, but it was a lot, right? Or at least it was a lot for me at the time. Let's put it that way. So I visited it multiple times. My husband being the person that he is, he's like, just get it. And I'm so glad that I did. I have had this book. Like I said, I don't know if I got it in 2002 it's exactly or afterwards, but that's when it was published. This is the Norsk Strikkedesign. I know that's German or whatever. I don't know how to say it properly, but I know what it is. It is gorgeous. This right here is, you look at that. That is a gorgeous tabletop coffee table book. The patterns are absolutely stunning. It's not your typical cables or anything like that. This is all colorwork stranded. Just the elements that are in it are just so amazing. Like I said, way past any of my skill levels, definitely in the early 2000s. I think I might be slightly intimidated even now. I mean, we all have our different things. And, I pulled this book out and I looked at it and, I had to have gotten it around the 2005 time period. And the reason I'm saying that is this is in the front cover. This is a catalog and here's a price sheet. And this is the price sheet from Norsk Strikkedesign yarn price sheet from a store in Durham, New Hampshire. Nordic Fiber Arts. I'll link them down below because I did just look. You can still get the yarn packs. So this is the summer of 2005 price list. Yeah, I know you can't really see that. But what I was really impressed with when you look at these, and it tells you what page the pattern's on and how much the yarn is going to be. And we'll just go with the first one, page 8, virgin jacket. You've got small, medium, large, because obviously you're going to need more yarn for the bigger sizes. And that particular one goes from $105 to $126 back in 2005. Now you see what I'm talking about. I personally had 3 small kids. My husband, if you look at 2005, we were both back in the military at this time period. He was getting ready to deploy, 3 small kids, that type of thing. Money was tight. Let's put it that way. $100 to make a sweater. Yeah, that might as well have been $1,000. It doesn't matter. And for these particular designs to substitute yarns, I just wasn't good enough, or, all the different colors and things along that line. But I think it's amazing that I have this. And what's really, to me, absolutely amazing on that is I went out to the website right here, and that's the pattern, that top one that I just gave the price quote. In 2005, it ranged from $105 to $126, depending on your size. And in now, 2023, it's $155 to $186. Yes, that's still a lot of money. I'm not saying it's not. But when you look at the Caron cakes have gone up to the last 3-4 years, they were $9.99 for the Caron cakes, and now they're $12.99 and $13.99. All right, that's less than a 5-year period. They've gone up like 50%. We're talking 18 years later, and they've gone up 30%. Yes, it's still a lot of money. but in relative, the yarn has not gone up as just our big box stores have. So I was completely blown away. Shall we look at some of the designs? Oh my gosh, I am just blabbering on about all of this stuff. I was excited. I'm not going to lie. I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. So let's look at some of these designs that got me just so amazed. Look at this. Look at the absolute, let me try to stand up so you can see it better. Look at the absolute color work on that. That's the stranded knitting. All the details are just absolutely amazing. That is just, that's the one that I was just telling you about. The prices on that particular one to get the yarn that it calls for. Oh my gosh, right? I don't do that very often, but sometimes you just have to. And that right there, depending on your size, is $155 to $186. The book is obviously, it's going to be an out of print book. I did see, I'll link that also. You can get the book for like $57, $58 on Amazon if you really, really wanted it. Just throwing that out there. Not a salesperson, not any of that other stuff. I'm not affiliated, but there you have it. I mean, these right here. Here's the next one. Just trying to get it to where I can actually see it. I know that ring light's just irritating, but just gorgeous. I mean, the color work, I'm going to show this. You're not going to see it too well, but that's the type of, that's the actual, hey, that's how the colors go. Isn't that crazy? The detail on that with what you're putting in is just, like I said, for me, I really thought it was way past my skill level at the time and, you know, a little scary now, but it could be done. Look at this. Isn't that stunning? Look at the cuff detail on that and the color, the color work and everything. I mean, just gorgeous. And that flower in the center, I mean, that's just, yeah, just absolutely amazing. Some of the other things, there's some stitch techniques called corrugated ribbing, which I just think are just stunning too. Look at this. Look at that. You've got the fur collar trim, the swirls, the colors, the extra color band in there. And look at that ribbing right here down at the bottom. Isn't that different? That's just so unique. And I like in that sleeve detail, you've got that little pop of red in that. I don't know if they're doing a duplicate stitch after. That would make more sense instead of trying to carry on, you know, that red somewhere else. But that to me was just stunning. This one I think would be an easier one for me to handle. That's garter stitch. That one would be pretty simplistic. In all things considered, let's put it that way. Let's not get carried away. But that one right there would be an easier one. Look at that. You got the shaping in there, kind of flaring out at the hips. Yeah, I kind of need that extra flare out at the hips. And using all your different colors and everything else like that. So if I wanted to do one out of here and not necessarily go for a color pack of getting the exact colors that the pattern had, that one would definitely be it, because that to me just reminds me of, hey, what do I have available? Is it the right gauge? Is it the right whatever? I could do that. This to me was gorgeous too. Look at that. Trying to get it close enough into the camera so you can actually see it. See those details. And you can see what I'm getting at on, you know, obviously a book released in 2002. Those weren't necessarily, you know, modern type designs, but stunning. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? This one had me. That one right there, I loved the color work design, the way that it flowed. And if you check out Ravelry, there are people who have made quite a few of these different patterns, and you can see, did they use the same colors? Did they go along that line? What did they work with? And see the results. This one to me, right here, fully heavily cabled, is very doable. That does not intimidate me at all. We all have our different things. Now, it would take a long time because it is very, very cabled. That's a lot of yarn. That's going to be pretty heavy. That's okay. That's gorgeous. That one didn't intimidate me. The color work ones did. We all have our strengths, right? Cables, not a problem. Look at this. Look how gorgeous the colors are on that. Try to get that focused. Isn't it pretty? And then the bottom treatment on that, oh my gosh. And that is so colorful, so pretty. I could definitely see that one right now with all the colors on that. And then finding out that you can still get the color packs. Oh my gosh. If you have the resources and everything and the wherewithal to go for it and do it and just, you know, actually just do it. Oh, wow. Look at this. Isn't that spectacular? Have you seen things like this before? Have you seen this book before? I mean, you know, she's a redhead. I mean, come on. Hello. Yeah, it's, you know, I would take the patterns themselves and blow them up because, you know, I'm older now. But yeah. That right there just looks like a tapestry, doesn't it? Just a gorgeous clothing tapestry. All the colors in there. That is just stunning. I could see that one as a gorgeous blanket, you know, all the different pieces like that, because, you know, you got this. You could redo those. You could take that motif in there for knitting. And, you know, yeah, these are knit, but you could crochet with that too. If you look at that particular graph, you could do a mosaic crochet with that. There is overlay crochet. You can use the same graphs. Yeah, you're going to get a slightly different look. But if you're making a blanket or you're reusing the pattern to do it to something else, you could definitely use that graph. Yep. Thinking outside of the box. Exactly. Look at this. The photography in here I thought was really nice too. They give some good close-up details of the pattern. They're not so artsy that, you know, it's a beautiful nature scene, but you can't really see the design. And, you know, if we're knitting and crocheting and we're wanting to work with something, let's face it, we want to see the details of the design. You can have the gorgeous pictures, but please do a close-up. This one is just, I don't even have words. Look at that. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, that is just beyond stunning. Look at all the different details in that. I mean, that neck treatment and the waist and the flowers and stuff down at the bottom. I mean, yeah. I don't know how many hours I spent looking at this, reviewing this, going over this. You know, when I first got it, I read the patterns like a novel. I really, really did. And I checked out all of those color charts. Isn't that gorgeous? This to me is such an inspirational coffee table book. You know, do you buy books sometimes, you know, that are past your skill level that you just have for inspiration? That's what this book was for me, is past my skill level, but a one day I could do it. A one day I could make it. A one day I can have the skills. What little girl wouldn't love this one? Or an adult for that matter. And look at that cute red along the edges for the neckline and the waist and the cuffs. Isn't that adorable? The pretty kitty cats all over the place. That's a nice color work, nice design, and an adorable little model. And this right here, I mean, this one right here is a fitted jacket. This blew me away. Can you imagine making that? For one, being good enough to make that and that design and to fit it to your own body, and just how stunning with all the colors. And I think I would just have to wear that everywhere. I just would. If I were to make that, that would be my daily jacket. That would have to be something that I wore constantly. The amount of work and the amount of effort that would go into that, yeah, that would have to be a daily wear. I thought this one was a lot of fun too. Look at that. The big kimono style. Can you imagine just being wrapped up in that? Let's get a little closer so you can see how that color plays. Can you imagine being wrapped up in that? And just, I mean, what a big hug that would be. That right there, wonderful. Just stunning. So these right here were just so unique to me. I hadn't seen anything like it. It was so different from any of my other books and my other magazines, even to this day. It is so different and so unique, and the color work on there. And then there's this cute hat that went with that too. The color work, the designs, the intricate details. Yeah, I had to have it. And yeah, my husband, being the wonderful individual that he is, he's like, get the book. And then again, the one on the front cover. And isn't that just gorgeous? I was blown away. What book, pattern, or whatever is your inspiration? What thing is it that's one day for you? Look at that. I've got the fur. I do. I don't know if I have enough, but I definitely have some fur yarn that would go for cuffs. There's no doubt about that. Isn't that pretty? Can you imagine wearing that? Just, I mean, talk about being wrapped in a hug, you know, massive love and attention right there. I'm telling you. Yeah, these are just amazing. So the patterns are written out. They're quite detailed. There's a lot of color work design on it. Definitely a lot of fun. Very, very, to me personally, an inspirational book that was way past my skill level. I think if I really wanted to do one now, it would take a while. I'm not going to lie. That would take some time because I am slower with the stranded work. And although I love it, I absolutely enjoy it, you have to pay more attention, right? You have to look at it and pay attention stitch by stitch, that type of a thing. And practice with a hat. That's why I always say, practice with a hat. If you have this book, or you somehow are blessed and you find it in a thrift store or something like that, or whatever, or you just love it so much you decide you want to go buy it on Amazon, practice any of the color patterns on a hat first, or a washcloth, or something along that line, to see how well you enjoy it, practicing your tension, right? How good you are with that, because let's face it, that's a process, and this is a lot of yarn. And if you were to go ahead and buy that yarn pack, one of those yarn packs, depending on your size, I mean, that's an investment. It really is. I'm so impressed that they went up about 30% in 18 years, as opposed to so many of the other yarns that we've witnessed that have gone up that much in the last 4 or 5 years. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But definitely practice, have fun. I would love to hear, what is your inspiration? What book, what pattern did you look at that spurred you into doing something outside of your comfort zone? This book is way outside of mine. Maybe not so much now because I have done color work, but to this detail, and for one of these sweaters, I've never done anything this detailed in color work. To me, the least intimidating one on here is that garter stitch jacket going up and down, and the cable, believe it or not, because I have done cable. That does not intimidate me. It's a lot, doesn't intimidate me at all. The other ones, yeah, there you go. I'd love to hear what your thing is. I really would. It just fascinates me on what motivates each and every one of us to pick up our needles, pick up our hooks, start making something. And what thing did you think was outside of your wheel well that now you're like, I got it. I can do that. I've got the skills that you now have confidence in. I hope you enjoy this series. For me, it is 100% memory lane, because even though I didn't say a lot of it, I'm over here thinking, what was I doing in 2002, 2005 area? Obviously, when I got the book, what was going on in my life? All my kids were little, you know, everything was going on, you know, people were getting deployed, military life, that type of thing. So I've got all that going on in my brain. I don't know what you were doing in 2005 when I got this book, but you know, it's kind of interesting thinking about, isn't it? At least it was for me. Well, you guys have a great day, night, evening, whatever it happens to be, and I will talk to you all again later. Bye-bye.